Hello YouTube and welcome into another part 0 video alongside our one more marathon. I am the game mechanic. Today we're talking about Kupe. Kupe, the great navigator of the Maori Empire. Very unique and interesting civ. Very, very fun to play. Not so much running up against him in game or as an AI. As he is an act of violence in himself. But let's talk about his abilities and some ways that you might strategize with him and some things that you may or may not know about his kit. Kupe's Voyage. So we start the game in the ocean tile. That's not always true. You can actually set up like a Highlands map or even Seven Seas and wind up being either on land or very close to it. But generally speaking, you're supposed to start in the middle of the ocean, which is already a very unique experience. You don't get to settle typically right away. I wouldn't settle much later than probably turn 6 if you can help it. It does still slow you down immensely, and remember that it'll slow you down even more if you're playing on faster game speeds. But beyond that, we get a free builder and a population when settling your first city, so that already starts to help you make up for the delayed start. The builder is quite useful and can culture bomb tiles. We'll get to that in a minute. Or you could just use it to build Splore. One of the things is you will have 2 extra movement for embarked units, so that builder can turn into a discount scout right away. And highly recommend using it that way because sometimes you don't even have tiles that are worth improving right away. So you get an extra population, you get that builder, your palace gets 3 extra housing, you get an extra amenity as well. And then while you're traveling about looking for your place to settle, you get 2 science and culture per turn. You do not have to select a tech. I think the civic will automatically be selected, but you can basically stockpile this and put it wherever you need to based on what you discover and what you might want to prioritize early game. So already a great interesting way to start off a civ. Kind of reminds me of Polynesia from Civ 5, but a little bit cooler actually. We have mana. This is, you start with sailing and shipbuilding, which is really powerful. That allows you to do the fishing boat thing right away. And shipbuilding is a classic era tech, allowing your units to embark. So good stuff to begin with there. Plays well into his kit. We like that a lot. You can also enter ocean tiles. So while you're build exploring and using your warrior and or scout that you build to kind of explore coast, you're going to need to be careful of barbarian galleys and other such shenanigans. But remember that it's easily dodged by just moving your units into deep water. Barbarian galleys do not start with the ability to go into deep water, and so you can sort of wamboozle them by juking into the deep ocean tiles. So embarked units get 2 movement, unimproved rainforests and woods get 1 extra production. This is where Kupe starts to get pretty spicy and pretty interesting. So unimproved woods and rainforests get production. You get extra production at mercantilism and then 2 extra production at conservation. So conservation is you're going to want a strong culture tree and culture output so that you can get there in a reasonable amount of time. And then sometimes your unimproved tiles are just way better than your improved tiles. You'll notice that like if you have to make a camp or a mine or something, if there's something that you're overriding an unimproved tile with woods or rainforest on it for a tile improvement, oftentimes the yield gets worse. It can be worth it, especially if you're getting a luxury, because you can sell that for gold or use it for amenities. But this is super cool and leads him into being a very cultural civ because national parks will feel better. It pairs well with Mariah, which we'll get to in a minute. And yeah, just super neat and saves you on builder charges. Normally builder charges, particularly in a culture game, are at a premium. You just kind of don't need as many, which feels quite nice. It frees up a lot of production for other things. Fishing boats give you extra food and culture bomb adjacent tiles. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. In general, you want to do this so that you gobble up any tiles, even if they are kind of useless, so that you grow to more important tiles. Resources cannot be harvested, so you can settle them. And I highly recommend that often, but even more so with Kupe if you don't want to use it. But remember things like flatland stone or stone on hills, you cannot harvest that. You can get around this a little bit with like Anansi in Heroes mode, but in general, you're not going to be able to harvest that. So you're a little bit limited in city design, but it tends to not feel particularly painful. What does feel painful is that you cannot earn great riders. We'll get to that a little bit more with the Mirai. We have the Toa as a unique classic era melee unit. Adjacent enemies get a -5 combat strength debuff, just like the Varu, and can construct the Pa. So Toa and Pa is a way to double up on era score with your unique unit, and then unique tile improvement. It is sort of a bonus, which is nice. And then it is a defensive tile improvement. You get 4 defense, and then you automatically gain 2 turns of fortification just by being there, which is pretty incredible. Really strong. You can bully early if you get there fast enough. This, I think, used to stack and was a little bit nerfed, but it's still a strong unit. The earlier the better with unique units for me, and this comes sort of right at the right time. You can bully city-states. You can do all kinds of stuff with it, but it's quite impressive. And I don't believe... I think one of the more unique things about this is that it doesn't require any strategics. So you don't need iron, you don't need anything like that, and it's just generally strong. So very cool. All right, and then let's talk about the Mirai. Gosh dang it, wrong button. We'll talk about the Mirai. This is a amphitheater replacement, and we already said that we can't earn riders. So why have an amphitheater replacement? Well, once you build it, you get culture and faith to all of the city's tiles with a passable feature or natural wonder. Passable feature includes some very basic stuff like floodplains, for example, which is really, really good. There are a lot of things that are included under the umbrella of passable features, and you get to add culture and faith to them. Obviously, our kit already pairs well with Earth Goddess, and you can get a little extra faith out of that. But then another very interesting part of this and why he's a great cultural civ is after flight, all of your tiles in that city get tourism. 1 tourism. It's not a ton, but it is a pretty big chunk of tourism that you can get for just hitting flight. Again, remember, you don't need builder charges to enable this, right? It's just all of those tiles, which is super good. No maintenance, has no great work slots. If you play Void or get wonders and things, you actually can get great works of writing. You can buy them off the AI and stock them and still get the tourism out of that. But you do not by default have a spot for great works of writing. So keep that in mind. Overall, Kupe is super fun civ. Just very unique. Highly recommend him on Terra as a map type. That's what we decided to play him in our One More Marathon game, twitch.tv/thegamemechanic if you want to get involved in those or get involved in the community more. But Terra is a great way to force all of the other AIs onto one landmass, and then you get to go find the free land with city-states, and yeah, just kind of feels a little cheaty, maybe a little snowbally, but boy is it fun. And the only wrong way to play Civ 6 is if you're not having fun. So enjoy your Kupe games, have fun. How do you like to play them? What are you thinking of that I missed? Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you all in the next one.